Hello and welcome. This is Notibot ENG. Tonight, we bring you a breaking news recap from around the world. Tensions are escalating in the Middle East as Iran warns Europe against sending warships to the Strait of Hormuz. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump has rejected Iran's response to his latest peace proposal, sparking fears of new attacks. We'll also take a closer look at Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's warning about war in Iran and a report suggesting Iran is seeking compensation from the U.S. over the strategic waterway. Let's dive into tonight's top news stories. As tensions between Iran and its Western allies escalate, a warning has been issued by Tehran regarding potential naval deployments in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran has warned Europe that sending warships to the Strait of Hormuz would be considered a provocation and could lead to retaliation. This comes as tensions between Iran and the West continue to escalate. The U.S. has been increasing its military presence in the region, with a significant increase in troops deployed to the area. The UK and France have both announced plans to send warships to the Strait of Hormuz, which is a narrow waterway that connects the Gulf to the Arabian Sea. This move is part of an effort to protect shipping lanes from potential Iranian attacks. However, Iran has strongly objected to this plan, with Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif calling it a threat to regional security. The situation is complex and multifaceted. The U.S. has withdrawn from a landmark nuclear deal with Iran, known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, JCPOA, which was signed in 2015. This move has led to increased tensions between Washington and Tehran, with both sides engaging in a cycle of rhetoric and posturing. The implications of this situation are significant. The Strait of Hormuz is a critical shipping lane that transports a large proportion of the world's oil, making it a key choke point for global energy markets. Any disruption to shipping in the region could have far-reaching consequences for the global economy. As tensions continue to escalate, the international community must work to find a way to resolve this crisis peacefully. Following a tense exchange in the Middle East, we turn now to the latest developments in the ongoing crisis, with Iran's response to U.S. plans coming under scrutiny. The situation in the Middle East has taken a turn for the worse as tensions between the U.S. and Iran continue to escalate. The crisis began when President Donald Trump rejected Iran's response to Washington's peace proposal, calling it totally unacceptable. This move has raised concerns that fresh conflict is on the horizon. Iran has warned that it will retaliate against any new U.S. strikes or foreign warships in the Strait of Hormuz. The country's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, has also vowed to continue blocking the strait, which has been a major point of contention between Iran and the U.S. In response, the U.S. military has blockaded Iranian ports since April 13th, claiming it has turned back 61 commercial vessels and disabled 4. The ceasefire that was put in place last month is now at risk of being breached. The agreement was meant to facilitate peace talks, but exchanges of fire and reports of strikes in the strait have continued. The U.S. had presented a peace proposal just a week ago, which included demands for Iran to lift its sanctions, end its naval blockade, and call for an immediate end to the war with guarantees against any renewed attack. The situation is complex and sensitive, involving multiple countries and interests. The involvement of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has added another layer of complexity, as he warned that the war would be a catastrophe. This crisis matters because it has the potential to destabilize the region and draw in other global powers. The U.S. and Iran are at odds over issues including sanctions, nuclear programs, and regional influence, making a resolution difficult to achieve. As tensions escalate between Israel and Iran, the Israeli Prime Minister has warned that the war is far from over in a volatile region. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has re-emphasized his stance on Iran's nuclear program, stating that the war in the country is not over. This comment comes as part of an interview that aired on Sunday and highlights Netanyahu's ongoing push to dismantle Tehran's proxies and see its nuclear enrichment program collapse. The conflict in Iran began in 1979 when the Islamic Revolution led by Ayatollah Khomeini took power. Since then, a series of proxy wars has been waged between the Iranian government and various groups, including Hamas and Hezbollah. These conflicts have been ongoing for decades, with Israel launching airstrikes against Iranian targets in recent years. Netanyahu's comments are seen as an effort to rally international support for his efforts to counter Iran's nuclear ambitions. The Israeli Prime Minister argues that the current situation is not a victory, but rather a temporary pause in the war. He claims that there remains enriched uranium, which could be used to produce nuclear weapons, and that Tehran continues to develop its military capabilities. The international community has been divided on how to address Iran's nuclear program. Some countries have imposed sanctions, while others have sought to engage with Tehran through diplomatic channels. Netanyahu's comments are likely to reignite debate about the best course of action to take against Iran. As the situation continues to unfold, it remains to be seen whether international pressure will ultimately force Iran to abandon its nuclear ambitions. As tensions escalate in the Middle East, U.S. President Donald Trump has renewed his criticism of Iran's leadership, sparking fresh diplomatic tensions with Tehran. The diplomatic efforts to forge a peace deal between the United States and Iran have hit a wall, with each side accusing the other of making unreasonable demands. U.S. President Donald Trump flatly rejected Iran's latest proposal to end the war without giving any reason. Iran's response, released on Sunday, focused on ending the war on all fronts, especially in Lebanon. The proposal included ending the naval blockade and lifting U.S. and international sanctions, while preserving Iran's control over its nuclear program and foreign policy, the issues Washington cited when launching the war. Trump described Iran's response as totally unacceptable, while Iranian state media said the U.S. plan amounted to Iran's surrender to Trump's greed. The reaction from the U.S. president suggests that any proposal for peace would need significant concessions from Tehran. The situation has sent oil prices soaring, with Brent crude up 2.69% to $104.01 a barrel by 23:36 Greenwich Mean Time on Sunday. The United Arab Emirates said it intercepted 2 drones coming from Iran, while Qatar condemned a drone attack in its waters on a cargo ship coming from Abu Dhabi. Kuwait also reported hostile drones entering its airspace. The escalating tensions in the Strait of Hormuz have raised concerns about the impact on global oil supplies and trade. The U.S. has launched 73 airstrikes against Iranian targets since October, prompting Iran to retaliate with missile strikes on U.S. forces in Iraq. With diplomatic efforts stalling, it appears that the conflict may remain a defining feature of U.S.-Iran relations for some time. As tensions between Iran and the United States continue to escalate, Tehran is now pushing back with a stern warning about sovereignty in a strategic region. Iran's response to a U.S. peace plan has been met with rejection and criticism from both sides. The latest proposal from Iran calls for compensation from the United States in exchange for easing tensions over the Strait of Hormuz. This comes after recent escalations in regional tensions following strikes on Iran by the U.S. and Israel, which led to retaliatory attacks by Tehran. The Iranian response is seen as a significant step forward in negotiations, but it falls short of meeting key demands from the U.S. According to reports, the proposal also emphasizes Iran's sovereignty over the Strait of Hormuz and demands an end to sanctions. Furthermore, the Iranian government has called for the release of assets frozen abroad. President Donald Trump has described Iran's response as totally unacceptable, highlighting the divide between the two nations. The situation remains tense, with a ceasefire that took effect on April 8 still under review. However, the U.S. has since enforced a naval blockade targeting Iranian maritime traffic in the strategic waterway. This development matters for several reasons. Firstly, it highlights the ongoing tensions between Iran and the U.S., which have been building over recent years. Secondly, it underscores the need for diplomatic solutions to prevent further conflict. The Strait of Hormuz is a critical choke point for global oil supplies, making any disruption significant for international trade. The situation also raises questions about regional stability and security, with the involvement of other nations such as Israel and Pakistan adding complexity to the picture. As tensions continue to escalate, it remains to be seen how this crisis will be resolved. In conclusion, we've seen a complex web of tensions between Iran, the U.S., and Europe unfold over the past week. We'll continue to monitor developments in the region and provide updates as more information becomes available. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to stay up to date on the latest news, be sure to subscribe to our channel and follow us on social media.